Hello, this is the 267th edition of Catch of the Day, available on the Branch Talk YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue reading from a book written by Trent Wildy entitled The King of Crisis in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Starting near the top of page 5, we read, "Let us summarize the main points of the important history. 1. The early SDA pioneers generally opposed formal church organization in the 1840s and 1850s. 2. In the early 1860s, the church adopted an organized structure, which included the establishment of local conferences and a general conference. 3. Throughout the rest of the 19th century, there were times of tension between local conferences and the General Conference, in which the General Conference overstepped its bounds and exerted a king-like authority that was met with the disapproval of Ellen White. 4. In the early 1900s, the church structure was reorganized. A major part of that reorganization was the creation of union conferences to serve as a firewall, preventing the General Conference from dictating the work throughout the world field. 5. From the 1980s to 2000, changes in policy resulted in a breakdown of the union firewall and a centralization of authority in the General Conference. There is one more aspect of this history that we must not miss if we are to have the clearest understanding of the current condition of things in the church. Since 1995, the General Conference working policy has contained a new section entitled Discontinuation of Conferences, Missions, Unions, and Unions of Churches by Dissolution and or Expulsion. Utilizing the ever more centralizing requirements of the Model Constitution, the new section B95 proclaims that the power to disband any union, conference, or mission that is out of harmony with General Conference policy. With what has become policy B95 in place, the General Conference had arrived at the point where it could threaten the existence of two North American division unions in September and October 2016. Footnotes at the bottom of page 5. 16. See FN 1. In original, FNN 4 to 15 mirror the FNN in the original article. 17 is designated in the working policy as B45 in earlier post 1995 editions, but now as B95. Threatening the existence of unions? Yes, but we are already getting ahead of ourselves. Before we can consider the responses to the 2015 vote, we have to look at the vote itself and what led to it. Women's ordination has long been a contentious issue in the church. It seems to fade in and out between the foreground and background. In 2010, it was somewhat in the foreground, and a delegate at the GC session requested serious denominational study of the issue. In response, the General Conference Administrative Committee, ADCOM, established the Theology of Ordination Study Committee, TOSC. in 2011. The committee was tasked with prayerfully investigating the subject of women's ordination in collaboration with the biblical research committees of each of the 13 world divisions of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, with the intention that their findings should inform the 2015 vote. But did it inform the vote? And if so, how and to what extent? To answer these questions, we return to the aforequoted article by George Knight. As impossible as it seems, after having spent so much money and time on the project, the results of TOSC were never clearly presented to the General Conference session at the time of the vote. And for good reason. Apparently, TOSC's consensus did not support the desired conclusions of certain individuals at the top of the denominational power structure. Thus, the 2015 delegates were not informed that a supermajority of 2/3, 62 for and 32 opposed, of the members of TOSC were in favor of allowing divisions to make the choice on whether to ordain female pastors. Footnotes at the bottom of page 6. Number 18, CFN1, FN17 mirrors the FN of the original article. 19, ADCOM is a committee appointed by the General Conference Executive Committee consisting of 46 members and 12 invitees, including the GC President, several General Vice Presidents, the GC Secretary and Undersecretary, the GC Treasurer, the Under-Treasurer, and others. ADCOM meets weekly at the GC World Headquarters to oversee church matters. The GC Executive Committee is a group of 345 members, together with 129 invitees, who meet twice a year to make decisions regarding the operations of the church. It is the highest governing body beneath the GC in session. 20. The final report of their findings is available here. Website is given. 21. As will be noted below, many of the TOSC participants were disillusioned when the General Conference President reversed his opinion on the importance of the committee from its first meeting, when it looked as if it would come up with the proper answer to its last, in which the majority voted against its position. In addition, the delegates were not informed that at least 9 of the 13 divisions of the church in their TOSC reports were favorable toward letting each division make its own decision on female ordination, nor did the final TOSC report present that data. It did, however, present the positions of 3 distinct groupings of delegates that developed during TOSC's 2-year journey. But the delegates at the 2015 session were not explicitly informed that 2 of those orientations were in favor of each division making its own choice. Take care.